Welcome back to the Blowsion Surf Slam in Pacific City, Oregon. And we're right on the beach, and that is a good thing, especially if you know how to get around the beach when you're not intended to be in the water. This guy certainly has a good game plan, while others aren't so fortunate. There were more than a few tows that took place throughout the weekend, and you always have to have your eye on the sneaker waves. And if you're from Oregon, well, it's really no big deal. You go with the flow. And one rider that has that down is Darren Anderson. Darin's one of the really good guys in the sport, and the sport is lucky to have him. There's no doubt that he is a fan favorite.
You know, it's something I've heard kind of through the past events. A lot of people get into the sport and they feel like they need to do exactly what they have to do to win. And you know, if we didn't have the fans, there is no sport. So it took a pretty big nosedive earlier in the 80s and 90s, and it kind of fell off the map. And if we're trying to rekindle all the fans into this, and if you don't get them involved, there just won't be anything left. So that's my main thing. I go out there, I try to go as big as I can, I try to go as crazy as I can, and everybody loves that. And you can't not. It's just everybody likes to see big air. They like to see wipeouts. They like to see crashes, unfortunately for me. But that's just where it has. That's the base level that you got to start with.
Big crashes do occasionally happen, and in Darren's case, it happened in the qualifying round when his face slammed into his handlebars on a backflip. Darren busted up his teeth and took stitches to his chin, but still was motivated enough to continue. After all that, I asked why.
You know, it started with just thinking about it through the night. I take this place serious out here. We never ride alone out here. The Oregon coast is a treacherous place, so you got to really take it seriously. I just wanted to make sure physically that I didn't hurt enough that I was going to put myself in jeopardy. As I mentioned before, I've got a family. I've got 2 awesome kids and a wife, and people that rely on me. So you just can't mess around on that. I love this sport and I'll do anything for it, but you have to set a stopping point, you know, in a little bit. So when I woke up that next morning, I've really just been taking some ibuprofen to kind of keep the swelling down. Didn't take my pain pills because I wanted to make sure if I was going to go, have a clear head. So and I just woke up feeling good, and I knew I had a lot of people out here. This is my hometown. This is where we ride every weekend. So I knew I had a lot of support out here, and I didn't want to let anybody down, especially Johnny, who's with Blowsion, who's done so much for me. And it's once a year that you get to come out to an event like this. It's ridiculous for us. It's so awesome to be a part of it. So, you know, I felt good enough and just went for it. Said we'll take it one round at a time, and as long as I can get through, I'm good.
Darren did take it one round at a time, and he found himself advancing with every heat all the way to the semifinals. More of that in just a minute, but first, how about the amateur final? 2 great riders in Wesley Krautkramer and Randy Lawler went head-to-head in challenging conditions. Even in wetsuits, the water at 48 degrees took some time getting used to. These 2 wave riders threw down everything they had, and it proved to be a great final. The conditions from the day before changed quite a bit. The high surf subsided, which gave way to the wave riders surfing on the inside swell. Remember that 50% of the score is made up of wave riding skills. The judges had their hands full breaking down each rider's score. Both Randy and Wesley pushed hard in this 10-minute final, constantly on the throttle and wrestling with the changing surf. Each rider demonstrated that they had what it took to reach the final. In the end, Wesley Krautkramer in yellow won the amateur freeride final. Prior to the amateur freeride final, the Pro Freeride Semifinal took place. In the first semifinal, Jake Montadon went up against Zach Bright. The conditions once again challenging and constantly changing. The surf was not as big, so the riders definitely had to pick their spots in this 10-minute semi. When it was all said and done, the rider advancing was Zach Bright.
Man, it's hard. I say it every time, it's tough out there. I mean, when the swell comes in, it was crazy. Right when the green flag went out, it just died. It was like, oh, great. So just trying to do a lot of surfing because Jake's a really, really good surf rider, so I was trying to keep that in mind and keep busy and try and knock out some tricks. So I hope it worked.
Oh, it definitely worked for Zach, and in the other semifinal, Taylor Curtis would go head-to-head with Darren Anderson. This would be a great semi, with both riders attacking the swell with everything they had. Darin, accustomed to his home turf, let it fly, and for Taylor, he held nothing back. As the more time went by, the more comfortable he appeared to be in his quest of reaching the main event. In overcast conditions with less than desirable visibility, it would be Taylor Curtis advancing to the final.
I'm excited. I can't wait. I'm getting more and more warmed up as the day goes on, and figuring out how to work with this Oregon surf, and just trying to stay in the ski right now. It's still bumpy out there, but there's a few waves here and there, and a couple clean sections on the inside, so we'll try to work with that.
The pro wave riding finals of the Blowsion Surf Slam are set, as Taylor Curtis will go head-to-head with Zach Bright. We'll have that and more, but as we take you to a break, here are some highlights from the IJSBA Moto Surf Racing Finals.